Yeah, good evening to all. Uh, I request you to all to note this problem. So first of all, everyone please take pen, paper and calculator. You may open your the handouts which I shared by the previous email. Hello, anybody is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So could you able to see the slide now?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Sir,
Please,
handout we are not able to open, sir. It is showing some error.
what kind of error you are getting?
Like it is deleted or like that it is showing, sir. We are not able to open.
Uh, Deleted, but it is sent through email only, na? How can that happen? Could you please try to open now? I just now sent an email. Or else, let me do one thing. Yeah, in two modes I have sent. One directly through Google Drive, another is direct an email. I don't know
We can
which
open
one
now,
is to
sir. Now the
download it.
previous mail.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah. So I now request everyone to note down this sum. So determine the ultimate load capacity of 800 millimeter diameter concrete board pile given in the figure below. So determine the ultimate load capacity of the 800 millimeter diameter concrete board pile given in the figure below. I request everyone to exercise this one because so far whatever the theory part that we have discussed it, you might be having some kind of doubts or the few of the concept might not got cleared up. So when you solve this tutorial problem, so then most of the things will get clarified. So total length of the pile 15 meter. So 4 plus 6 plus 5, 15 meter. So there are three layers of soil. The first 4 meter from the ground surface is a clay. The cohesion of that soil clay layer is 60 kilonewton per square meter. Density is 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. Then followed by sand, where for sand the angle of internal friction is 30 and gamma is 20 kilonewton per cubic meter. And below the sand, so clay, whose undrained shear strength or cohesion is 100 kilonewton per square meter, and density is 20 kilonewton per cubic meter. Okay. So let me pose a couple of the problems. So now here, when it is asked to determine the ultimate load capacity, so what are all the different components that should be addressed first? Anybody? So when you are asked to determine the ultimate pile load capacity, what are all the different components? So that should be addressed. So as per all the previous class discussion. I hope by now everybody has noted down the sum. So only half of the people are there. The meaning I don't know where they are there. So okay, leave it. Yeah, Abhijit. So let us come one by one. Abhijit, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Could you please answer the question? Akshit. So what is your understanding? Did you first of all did you all note down the sum? Akshit, Banu, Meena.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So could you please answer my query?
So actually, I didn't hear properly, like what are happening.
See, this is the pile. It is embedded or passing through three number of layers: clay, sand, and again clay. So when it is asked to determine the pile load capacity, what are all the different components that should be determined? Bukya Bhaskar.
Sir, I am noting it down for question.
Okay, you can note it down, but you can still answer. Shashank. Shashank, are you there? Siva Prasad. Dasari Jagadish.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, I'm just like I'm just seeing handout, sir. I don't know.
Means you are listening to the previous lectures, na?
Yes, sir. I'm thinking.
You are still thinking. Oh my goodness. Okay. Shantan. It's not available. Devasmita Datta. Devasmit Dutt.
Yes, sir. Like here, only skin friction will be there. I think end bearing won't be there.
Okay. Okay, at least you are saying that there are two things, skin friction and end bearing. Yeah, so okay, good thing. So first of all, why do you think that end bearing may not be there? Any reason?
So like rock is not there. Hard
Okay,
stratum is
okay, good. Bhavyasri, Bhavyasri,
Yes, sir.
yeah, could you please?
So I also think that it's only due to skin friction.
So only due to skin friction. Okay. Rutvik,
Yes, sir. Only skin friction. Sigma P into delta L into F.
okay.
Yes.
Venkat Sai, Venkat Nagasai.
Sir? Yes, sir. It will
Yeah,
be through the surface, that is skin friction only, sir.
only through skin friction.
Since
Okay. So first of all, see here. Okay. So here, suppose you assume two conditions. See now, I'm making some hypothetical condition. Say for example, this is the hard strata. The pile is directly resting on the hard strata. Say this is rock. So then what is the difference between the previous case and this case? What is the difference between the previous case and this case? So now I have assumed another hypothetical condition where the pile tip is resting directly on the rock. So what is the difference between the previous case and this case? Anyone?
Sir, end bearing is not there, sir. Previous.
This case or previous case?
Previous case.
Previous case. Okay, here now end bearing is there. Okay, so any others? Raviteja?
Sir, both combination of both end bearing and skin friction will be there, I think.
This case or the previous case?
In the second case, sir.
In the second case. Okay, good. So Harshvardhan Meena?
Yes, sir. I also think like there will be self weight and skin friction and um, uh,
Okay. Rohit? Hey Rohit? Rama Satvik? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, sir. I think in the second case, embedding resistance will be there, sir. And in first case, it will be non-new. And skin friction will be there in both.
Okay. Or else, let me put another condition. So in the first case, see, we have discussed about 3-4 cases, if you remember. Basically, the end bearing alone and the skin friction alone, then combination of end bearing plus skin friction. Okay, so this is what I was discussing about last couple of classes. Suppose, again I repeat, suppose if the tip is resting on the hard strata, so majority of the load will transfer only in the form of a end bearing. If tip is resting on the hard strata, so you may note it down, on the hard strata, majority of the load transfer will happen only by the end bearing. So in absence of the tip or in absence of the hard strata, majority of the load will transfer by skin friction. Okay. So in all remaining cases, it is the combination of end bearing plus skin friction. However, we do not know which one is more, either skin friction or point load. But only in two cases we can dominantly say that. So if the hard rock strata exists at the pile tip, then majority of the load might transfer only by the point bearing. So in another hypothetical case where there is no hard strata exist at the pile tip, then majority of the load might be transferred to the soil in the form of a skin friction. In all remaining cases, whether the pile tip resting on the soil or not, it is the combination of point bearing plus skin friction. So this everyone must remember. Okay. So now in this case, as everybody thought that the tip is not resting directly on hard strata, so therefore they may not be developing any point bearing resistance or end bearing. But just look at, so the pile tip is terminated in the clay layer, So still clay can able to take certain amount of the end bearing, which may not be equivalent to that of where tip is directly resting on the rock. Definitely, no doubt. So the end bearing when the pile tip is resting in the clay might be very or substantially lower than the case where the pile tip is resting on hard strata. So everyone please note down all these important points, because once you pass out and when you are trying to design any kind of a foundation system, so these are the basic guidelines. Okay, you might have to give such a kind of a demonstration in front of your higher authority or for yourself to understand, so how to design a pile in layered soil. So these points are very important, so don't ignore. Okay, and in books, couple of the important points that are not available, so they can simply give a problem and they can simply calculate the pile capacity, that's it. But they don't give any kind of a basic reason why they are calculating or what are all the different inherent assumptions underlying so in the calculation. Okay. So now based on our previous class discussions, so the ultimate bearing capacity of the pile QU is nothing but summation of QS plus QP. QS plus QP. Okay. However, the pile tip is resting. The pile tip is resting on the clay. So therefore, the end bearing capacity is calculated based on the clay soil properties. So the soil at pile tip. So when you calculate end bearing capacity, you always need to consider the soil where or within which the pile tip is embedded. So here the pile is resting in clay, so you have to use the properties of the clay to calculate the point resistance of the pile. Then the skin friction. So the skin friction is the combination of all layers: clay, sand, silt. So the skin friction is the combination of clay, sand and silt. Okay. Point bearing resistance is calculated considering the soil at the pile tip. So here in this case it is a clay, while the skin resistance is calculated considering all the three layers: clay, sand and silt over the 15 meter length. So therefore, if you look at carefully, the ultimate pile capacity is QP plus QU, but QP is only one soil, that is clay, so therefore soil at pile tip. But for QS, there are two variety of soil. So for clay and for sand, that means you need to calculate the skin friction differently for clay and differently for sand. So if anybody has any question, please ask me right now. So before we proceed into calculations part. So once you are understanding the simple part, so rest is only how best we can utilize the analytical equations. Okay, so let us go. So first calculation of the QP. So first I am taking how to calculate the point bearing resistance of the given pile. Note that the soil supporting the pile ends in the clay. So therefore we have to use the properties of clay only. We have to use the properties of clay for calculating the end bearing capacity. So what is the equation? Which equation can we use for point bearing resistance now? What are all the different equations available? Different theories available for calculating the point bearing resistance? Anyone? Can you please refer to handouts and tell me?
CNC plus QNQ.
CNC plus QNQ. Yeah. Kriti Malu, are you there? Lalit Kumar? Mandev Venkatesh? So very pathetic. Everybody just logs in and goes away.
Sir, 9 CU into A.
Yeah, Lalit. Now what are the different theories available first for calculating the end bearing so that everybody can able to hear? Can you take out the handout and show? Because it is available in the handout.
Sir, Meyerhoff's and Jan Bose.
Yeah, so the Meyerhoff theory is available, Ambos theory available, then basic theory available, then Coyle and Castillo. So 3-4 theories are available to calculate the end bearing. Very good. Okay, so you can use any of the theory, but if you especially look at the given data and the corresponding equation to be chosen. So here only Cu as given and gamma has been given. Suppose if you want to use the basic theory, you need elastic properties of the soil, but no elastic properties of the soil has been given. So therefore, you cannot use the basic theory. Similarly, Ambos theory to use, we need to know the eta angle, that is angle made by the failure plane at the pile tip. So even that one is also not known. So therefore, we can't able to use Ambos theory. And yes, I think we can use the Coyle and Castillo theory as well as the Meyerhoff theory. Yeah.
In Ambos theory, eta equal to 60, I think 60 degree. In handout, it's written.
Okay, but that 60 and 90 corresponding to clay and sand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is extreme values.
So here we have to take clay, it is 60. Like
may not be. May not be. Oh, we don't know exactly. Or even if you take 60, fine, you can do it. No issue. Consider the eta value as 60 and calculate the point bearing resistance. Fine. Okay. So here we can go for Meyerhoff theory, a very simple one. Capital QP, that is point bearing resistance, is nothing but here capital QP indicates point load, not pressure, because it is multiplied with the cross sectional area. So everyone again be careful. So when I put the capitals, that indicates the load, not the pressure. Not the pressure. It's a load, capital Q, because you are multiplying stress with the area. So this is area, and this is the stress. So what you get is ultimately load. So as Lalit has said correctly, so QP is nothing but C and C, and additionally that should be multiplied with the area. And now we also have seen that this is a we hypothetically assume this is a pure clay where pi is 0 because nothing has mentioned in the problem. You can reasonably assume that pi is 0. Then for pi is equals to 0, as I told, this value you must remember. So it may be given in the exam, may not be given in the exam. Default, you are most welcome to assume as a civil engineer when pi is 0, NC is 9 for the deep foundation and NC is 5.14 in case of the shallow foundation or the footing. So these values are fixed. So you should not ask repeatedly, sir, this value has not been given or the other value has not been given when pi is 0. So this you have to remember. So NC is 9. Now the biggest question is what value of the CU shall be considered here? What value of the CU shall be considered? 60 or 100?
100.
So it is 100 because the pile tip is resting in clay whose cohesion is 100 kilopascals. So there should not be any secondary question. Okay. So somebody said very right. So Cu is 100 kilopascals because the pile tip is resting in this clay layer. Okay. So now calculate AP, that is simple cross sectional area of the pile, that is pi by 4 into 0.8 square. So be careful about the units. And Cu is 100 kilopascals and NC is 9. So could someone tell me what is the value of the QP?
$452.4 kilonewtons.
Very good. So 452. Others? Could you please confirm?
Yes, sir. 452.16.
Very good. 452.16. So cross sectional area is pi by 4 into 0.8 square and Cu is 100 kilonewton per square meter. As I told, the reason being you should take the layer where the pile tip is resting. So here Cu is 100 kilonewton per square meter and substitute. So what you get is QP is 452.4 kilonewton. 452.4 kilonewton. Okay. But if you look at the Meyerhoff theory, this QP should be less than or equal to Q limited. Let us look at another equation. QP must be less than or equal to, so Q so this is the Meyerhoff theory. So QP must be less than or equal to Q limited. Okay, but how do you calculate the Q limited? So that is 0.5 into PA into NQ star into tan pi. NQ star into tan pi. But here regarding the tan pi, pi is 0. So pi is 0. So therefore QP is considered as Q limited. The pi of first 4 meter is 0 because this is a clay. So there is no development of the friction angle. Okay, so therefore it is reasonable to take 450 QP as Q limited only. QP as Q limited. Or alternatively, if you want to calculate, you are most welcome to do so. Take 15 times of D, take its variation of 15 times of D, and or alternatively just calculate Q limited and whatever the value you are getting, so that value shall be taken. So here you can able to do such exercise only for the sand layer. Could anybody able to calculate what is the QL for sand layer? Because QL you cannot calculate for the top 4 meter clay or bottom 5 meter clay because the pi is 0. What is the QL for sand? Anyone? Calculate Q limited. So that is 0.5 PA, NQ star and tan pi. So this is NQ value. Given pi is 30 and NQ is 56.7. NQ is 56.7. So this is the equation. NQ is 56.7. But anyhow, this is not also not valid because this equation is again valid for sand layer. Just for the sake of making it clear. So I'm just asking, otherwise it is not valid. So only this equation is valid, the bottom equation. QP is equal to 9 Cu into AP. Okay, so this part is done. Now, so now we have calculated. Yeah.
That is QL is given for granular soil, no sir.
That's what I'm saying.
Check it for here QL equal to 0 we have written, no sir.
Yes.
Should it be checked, no, sir? Why should we check then?
No, just for the sake of that's it. I'm just asking you to check it so that you will be acquainted with the calculation. Otherwise, not required.
This part, sir, here for a clay layer we have written, no sir. QL equal to 0. Then we should not write that step, sir, in general.
In general means, see, here there are two layers. 4 meter is clay and 5 meter is a clay. In both the cases, the tan pi is equals to 0. So your entire QL becomes 0, na?
That QL is given for a granular soil, no sir. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. That's why it is written. Okay. See,
clay, so there is no need to write. I'm asking that, sir.
No. Both are same. Whether we can assume that since it is a granular soil, it is not a granular soil, so therefore QL is not valid, or alternatively, just to avoid, because technically, if you understand the problem thoroughly, only you can write it. But many people do not understand, so therefore it is better technically you say tan pi is 0, therefore QL is not valid.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Good. So this is point bearing capacity calculation. That is as simple as possible. Now let us come to calculation of the QC, that is skin friction. So anybody has any question on point bearing resistance? That is simple and straightforward. There is no hanky panky about calculation of the QP or point bearing resistance. But the entire trouble comes, so when you try to deal with the skin friction only. So the first part of the sum is done. So now let us come to the second part, that is calculation of QS. Now, when we talk about QS, there are two layers, in fact 3 layers, 2 clay layers, 1 sand layer. So therefore, you can either take clay as the first layer or sand as the second layer, or vice versa, doesn't matter. So since there are 1 sand layer and 2 clay layers, so we solve firstly for sand layer, then for the clay. Okay, so first we will do it for the sand layer. Now what is the philosophy for the sand layer? What is the rule that we should follow in case of sand for calculation of skin friction? Just refer to handout. So here I am showing, if you want to determine the skin friction in sand, so first you need to draw the variation of okay. So here, if you want to determine the skin friction of pile in sand, so first you need to draw the variation of the skin friction. As we have discussed, so it varies linearly up to a depth of 15 to 20 times of D. So depending upon the soil type, either you can take 15D or 20 times of D. So first you try to draw this linear variation up to 15 times of D. So first try to identify, so at what depth the 15 times of D comes. So here, so 15 times of D comes at a depth of 12 meter. So this is for sand. So the stress will increase linearly up to approximately 15 or 20 times of D. You can assume anything, either 15 or 20, doesn't matter. So in the present case, so I have taken the 15 times of D. So 15 multiplied by diameter is 0.8, that is 12 meter. Okay. So then accordingly, you try to draw the linear variation of the increase in what is this? Increase in effective initial effective overburden pressure. Okay. So first of all, for layer number 1, this is a clay. This is the overburden sigma dash is nothing but 18 multiplied by 4, that is 72. 18 multiplied by 4, that is 72. So this is on the top of the sand layer. So the pressure on the top of the sand layer is 72, and the 12 meter is below the sand. The 12 meter is below the sand. So below the sand, it is you can see, but the groundwater table exists at a depth of 4 meter. So it can be written as 72 plus there are 2 layers here, 6 meter of sand and 2 meter of clay. So you add accordingly. So first of all, at the end of the sand layer is 72 plus the density of the sand is 20. Since this is below the groundwater table, so you have to take gamma submerged. So 20 minus 10 into 6. So what you will get is total 132 kilonewton per square meter. Then at a depth of 15 times of d, that is 12 meter. Then this is 132 plus the density of the clay is 20. So 20 minus 10 into 2. So what you will get is 152. Okay. But the 15D ends below 2 meter. So we don't need to consider below 2 meter. We can consider only the top of the sand layer and the bottom of the sand layer. So the pressure at the top of the sand layer is 72 kilonewton per square meter, and the pressure at the bottom of the sand layer is 132 kilonewton per square meter. Okay. So now what is the equation for calculating the unit skin friction for sand? What is the equation for calculating the skin friction for sand? Dubey, can you recall? Mayur Dubey. Akash. Partha Sharma.
Sigma S delta L Fz.
Sigma S delta L. Just look into the handout and say what is the equation.
So for frictional resistance, load Q is equal to sigma S delta L Fzz. SZZ.
Okay, sigma Z S into
delta L.
Okay, so this is the equation. Yeah, but this is total. I'm asking what is the unit skin friction. Just look into this one. This is the equation for unit skin friction. FSZ is nothing but unit skin friction in case of the sand, which is nothing but K into sigma V dash into tan delta. K into sigma V dash into tan delta, and which should be less than or equal to the FSL dash, that is L dash corresponding to 15 times of D. 15 times of D. Okay, but here the crux of the problem, your Fz and this FSL dash, the limited is falling below the sand layer. So this is the most important. Why I was calculating up to 15 times of D is your FSL. So your 152 is nothing but FSL dash, but within the sand layer, so it is not falling, so it is still varying. So therefore we don't need to bother. We can take upper and lower limits of sigma V dash, that is 72 and 132, and Fs becoming constant even behind the sand layer, so therefore we don't need to bother. So this is the equation. Capital Qs is skin friction load, that is perimeter of the pile multiplied by summation of tan pi. So here, tan delta. So delta is taken as 0.8 times. So this is delta. Delta is taken as 0.8 times of pi I. Pi is given as 30, and sigma V dash average multiplied by the Ki multiplied by the thickness of that corresponding layer. So here thickness is 6 meter. Now sigma average you need to calculate. Now we have calculated sigma V at top and at bottom of the sand layer. So you need to calculate average of these two. Now another important factor is earth pressure coefficient Ki. So Ki, what value of the Ki shall be taken? So for taking the Ki, So you can consider bored or jetted pile or driven pile. So in the sum it is clearly mentioned it is driven pile. So you can use this equation 1.4 into 1 minus sin pi or 1.8 into 1 minus sin pi. So but we do not know whether it is low displacement or high displacement, nothing is mentioned. So to be on safe side you take 1.4 into 1 minus sin pi.
Sir, question it is given board, I think, sir.
Is it board pile? Okay. Concrete board pile. Okay, very good. So board pile na. So then accordingly you take the value. Very good. So it is board pile. So you take K naught as 1 minus sin pi. So what you will get is 1 minus sin pi. So what is the value of the K? And calculate the perimeter P. So note that the value of the pi for layers 1, 3 and 4 is 0. So that is 1, 3 and 4 is 0 because they are the clay layers. So we calculate QS only for the layer 2, that is sand layer. I have already explained that part. So then perimeter is P, that is pi into D. So pi D 2.51 meter and sigma V average. So that is average vertical effective stress. So average at top plus at bottom. That is 72 is at the top and 132 is at the bottom of the sand layer. So average is 72 plus 132 by 2. So 102 kilonewton per square meter. So this is the sigma average. So then length of the sand layer is 6 meter. Length of the sand layer is 6 meter. So this is 6 meter. Then pi is 30 degree. So K2 is equal to 1 minus sin pi. So that is board pi, as somebody said correctly. 1 minus sin pi, that is 0.5. That is 0.5. So now I know the P, that is 2.51. Tan delta, that is 0.8 into pi. So 2.51 into tan delta. So 0.8 into 30 multiplied by sigma average is 102 and K is 0.5 and length is 6 meter. So length is 6 meter. So therefore substitute all the calculated value into QS equation and calculate. So what you get is 342 kilonewton as the skin friction in sand. Skin friction in sand. So please note down everyone. So I hope it is clear to everyone now. So how to calculate the skin friction in sand. Now, so let us go to the clay layer. So now sand part is completed. The second is how to calculate the QS in clay. Now in the today morning's class, we were discussing about how to calculate the skin friction. There are three methods. So the very first method is alpha method. Then we also did discuss about the beta method. And the third method is lambda method. So you can use any of these three methods for calculation of the skin friction in clay soils, that is cohesive soils. But to use the beta method, we need the residual friction angle pi dash r, if you remember, pi dash r, but this is not given. And we also need the value of the OCR if it is a over consolidated soil. So nothing has been given. So we may not be able to use beta method. but we have a chance to use alpha method and lambda method. So try to use both the methods to calculate the skin friction in clay. So first I am going to use the lambda method. So this is the equation. The QS in case of the lambda method, or the average unit skin friction in lambda method, is F average is equals to lambda into sigma V dash plus 2Cu. However, sigma V dash is mean effective vertical pressure. Remember, the previously it was average vertical effective overburden pressure, but in lambda method it is mean effective vertical average pressure. Similarly, Cu also mean average, mean shear strength, mean shear strength, that is normalized over the length of the pile. So QS equation is P into L into F average. So surface area multiplied by the unit skin friction. So P 2.51 we have already calculated, and total length of the pile is 4 plus 6 plus 5, that is 15 meter. And we know there is a table available. Yeah, let us go to skin friction. Let us go to the lambda method. Now here given length of pile is 15 meter. So for 15 meter, the lambda value is 0.02. 0.2, sorry, not 0.2, 0.2 only. So lambda is equal to 0.2 for the pile length of 15 meter. So from the table we picked up. So no issue. Now lambda value is known. Lambda value is known from the table. Now you need to further calculate what is the sigma V dash, mean effective vertical stress, and mean cohesion value. So for that purpose, so first you calculate mean cohesion, which is nothing but L1 into Cu1, because 3 layers are there, plus L2 into Cu2 plus L3 into Cu3 divided by whole length. So for layer 1, 4 into 60, plus for layer 2, it is C is 0, Cu2 is 0, so 6 into 0 because it is a sand, and for third layer it is 5 into 100, so divided by the total length of the pile is 50. So what you get, the mean undrained cohesion as 49.33 kilonewton per square meter. Next, calculate mean effective overburden pressure. So that is area A1, A2, A3 divided by the total. So here this is A1 and this is A2 and this is A3. So this is A3. So for layer 1 it is A1, for layer 2 it is A2, for layer 3 it is A3, and total length is 15 meter. So therefore I know how to calculate the A1, that is half base into height. This is a triangle. Base is 72. So first calculate A1. So A1, so this is area 1, half base into height. Then A2, so this is since this is a rectangular or paralleloid, so you take average of these two, 72 plus 132 by 2 multiplied by the height 6. So this is A2. Next A3, that is this is also some kind of the parallelogram. So 132 plus the bottom is 182. The bottom of the layer is 182. So you try to calculate the bottom of the 5 meter. So that is A3. So then the mean effective stress is nothing but A1 plus A2 plus A3 by total L. A1 plus A2 plus A3 by the total length. So then what you get, mean effective vertical stress as 102.73 kilonewton per square meter. 102.73 kilonewton per square meter. So this is how you have to calculate mean cohesion and mean effective stress in case of the lambda method. Now rest is straightforward. I know sigma V dash, I know Cu, So substitute in the average skin friction equation and again substitute in the QS equation. So you will directly get the value of the skin friction. So F average is equals to lambda into sigma V dash plus 2 times of Cu. So F average is 40.28. Average unit skin friction is 40.28. And the equation for QS in clay is, so perimeter P multiplied by L multiplied by the F average. F average. So 2.51 into 15 into 40.28. So what you will get is QS in clay 1516.54 kilonewton. 1516.54 kilonewton. So this is the lambda method. So if anybody has any question, please ask me. So this is the most important one. So if you do not understand this one, then you can't able to solve any pile related problem. Okay, now,
sir,
yeah.
Sir, here A3 is, it is different, I think, sir.
No. You have to take top and bottom of the layers now. See, in case of the clay, say for example, at the top is 0, at bottom is 72, and for sand at top is 72, bottom is 132, and for clay the top is 132, but for bottom you need to extend it. You need to extend. This is 182. This is 182. So this is average of 132 plus 182 by 2 into length 5. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Because this is increase in effective stress, na? Overburden stress. This is weight of the soil, so it increases linearly. But the red vertical line refers to unit skin friction in case of the sand. Okay. Any other question? Fine. Now let us go to another method, that is alpha method. So the equation for alpha method is QS is equals to P into summation of alpha into Cu into L. So where L is the thickness of that particular clay layer, alpha is adhesion factor, Cu is undrained cohesion of that particular layer, and P is perimeter. Now here there are two philosophies are available. So here you just look at the alpha can be calculated, or the alpha can be calculated in two means. In one of the book, you can see this method where they have taken the ratio of the Cu by P average, and from that they picked up the value of the alpha 1. Okay, these tabular forms are tables are available corresponding to ratio of Cu by P atmosphere versus alpha. Or alternatively, what I discussed in the class was the chart. Now here if you look at, in our case the first layer Cu is 60 kilonewton per square meter. So corresponding to 60, you can pick up the value of alpha. You can pick up the value of alpha. So which is approximately 0.75. 0.7. Similarly, for second layer clay, the Cu is 100. Cu is 100. Draw a vertical line corresponding to the undrained cohesion of 100 and draw another horizontal line. What you get is approximately 0.7 or 0.72 or 0.75, whatever the value. Okay. So but instead of these using this graph, we can also use another tabular form. Both are correct. Okay, both the theories are correct. So you can use either this table or this tabular form. So either this chart or tabular form, both are valid. Both are valid. So here for layer 1, Cu is 60. Cu is 60. So Cu1 by the P atmosphere is 0.6. From the table, so corresponding to 0.6, the alpha 1 is 0.62. So this table will be provided in the exam, how to pick up this alpha value, or alternatively this chart will be given. Either the table will be given or the chart will be given. So no need to worry. And similarly for layer 2 is a sand. So therefore alpha method is not valid. So alpha is 0 for layer 2. For layer 2. Next, layer 3. So Cu is 100 kilopascals. So Cu by P atmosphere is 1. So alpha 3 is 0.48. So which is again picked up from the table. Okay. So this is the one way. The second way is use the chart shown here, pick up the value of the alpha and substitute in this equation. So then what you get is Qs. Or the third way, there is third way also. So let us look at the third way of equation. Now here this is alpha method. The unit skin friction Fs is nothing but alpha into Cu. Now we have seen one method, alpha picking up depending upon the cohesion value.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, in lambda method, sir, why we are considering the pile length as total 15, sir? Because the clay is only for 9 meter now.
Yeah, clay is 9 meter. But if you look at the equation, it says that you need to average over the entire length. The equation says the total L. It won't say only for clay. It is mean. When you say mean means, mean doesn't consider mean differently for sand or mean differently for the clay. It is mean for
Sir,
the length of the pipe.
then we can't add. Sir, then we can't add the sand skin friction because with that we have found out separately, sir. It will be the total skin friction, not only the for the clay.
That is true, but see, what is meaning of sigma V? It is average.
Sir, effective average effect.
Effective. When you not consider the sand layer, can you say that the weight exerted by the sand on the bottom clay is 0?
No, sir. Sir, but if the sand is at the bottom layer and two clays are together, then we have to consider up to two clay layers only.
There, in that case, you can clearly consider only 2 layers because the bottom sand doesn't exert any kind of overburden on the clay. So in that case, your values also differs. Your, like for example, here it is 72. Then in that case, you will end up 132. So 72, 132, averaging over the 10 meter length. That's fine. That is true, valid. Okay. Now the third way is you can also calculate alpha using this equation. So here it is a bored pile. The equation for alpha is C into sigma naught dash by Cu whole power 0.45. So I request everyone use even this equation also to calculate the alpha value, because sigma naught is average vertical effective stress. You can already all the values are calculated already. So for each layer you can calculate the average value of the sigma naught dash. So for example, for top clay layer, average sigma naught is 0 plus, it's already calculated. So sigma naught for the top layer is not this one. Yeah. So 0 plus 72 by 2. Okay. And for the bottommost layer, it is 132 plus 182 by 2. It's already calculated. Okay, so you can also use the third method, alpha is equal to capital C into sigma naught dash by U power 0.45. So because in exam point of view, I can ask anything, either to use the chart or this empirical equation or the tabular form. Any three can come in the exam. So be careful about use of all the three methods for the calculation of the alpha. So don't blame me later that sir did not discuss in the class.
Sir, what are the three methods? Can you tell me?
See, the very first one is you can pick up alpha from this chart. Okay. Or alternatively, there is another table available which is a relationship between Cu by P ATM versus alpha. Cu by P atmospheric pressure versus alpha. Then the third one is use of empirical equation, that is Sladen equation. Alpha is equals to capital C into sigma naught dash by Cu power 0.45. Okay, now I know everything. So perimeter is 2.51. Alpha for first layer is 0.62. And so Cu is 60. And length of that layer is 4. So this is layer 1. So this is for layer 1 clay. And since layer 2 is a sand, so 0 is for sand layer. And alpha, so that is 0.48 into Cu is 100 and length of the layer is 5 meter. So this is for layer 3. So substitute and what you will get QS of the clay as 970.88 kilonewton. 975.88 kilonewton. So when you compare lambda method with the alpha method, so lambda method has given slightly higher value of the skin friction. So in the lambda method you got approximately I think 1100 or 1500 kilonewton. In the alpha method you got 975 kilonewton. Okay, so now let us come to the conclusion. The total pile capacity is nothing but skin friction QU is nothing but end bearing plus skin friction. Now end bearing is a single value, that is 452.4, but skin friction, it is the summation of sand plus clay. So the skin friction
Sir,
in sand, yeah.
From QU, self weight, we should deduct self weight of pile.
No, that is not required. Self weight is not. That we can ignore, because one reason I told is, suppose say when you are constructing the pile, you are replacing the equivalent volume of the soil now. So if you effectively deduct the self weight of the concrete with the self weight of the soil, what you get is nothing. So that is the reason we normally ignore the self weight of the pile. Now in case of the skin friction, summation of the sand plus clay, though for sand there is a one method and what we got is 342. But for clay, we use two methods, lambda method, what we got is 1516, and alpha method, what we got is 975. So QS is 1858 when you use the lambda method, and QS total is 1317 when you use the alpha method. So then the QU, that is ultimate pile capacity, is point bearing plus skin friction. Now that is 2310 in case of the lambda method, and 1710 in case of the alpha method. Now depending upon your knowledge, depending upon your expertise, either you can pick up a 2310 or 1770. Now this is the ultimate. So this is ultimate. Now how do you calculate the safe load? What we
divide by factor of safety.
Yes. So you divide QU divided by the factor of safety. So here that is either you can take 2310 or 1710, doesn't matter. Now say for example I will take 2310 divided by the factor of safety, I can take 3. So this will give you around 700. So this is 31. how much I will get? 21 to 770 kilonewton. This is safe load that can apply on the pipe. I can apply approximately 770. So considering or accounting for the total settlement or the bearing failure of the pile or soil, anything else. So if you do not consider the failure, then we can go application of the load as high as 1770 kilonewton. And if you consider the settlement and the failure of the pile or the soil, then we should limit to the application of the load as 770 kilonewton. So anybody has any question?
Sir,
Yeah.
if layer 2 and layer 3 are interchanged, what will be getting, sir, difference apart from effective stress?
You are
Like the length of the pile be changed in lambda method?
yeah. So in alpha method, there is no change. Suppose if you interchange sand with the clay, so if you interchange sand with the clay, for alpha method, no change. Okay, for alpha method, no change in the skin friction value.
In lambda method, we'll take length of the pile as 10 and proceed, sir.
10 and proceed, that's it.
Okay, sir.
Sir, how we got 342, sir? Can you tell once again, sir? A Q of sand.
Q of sand. QS of sand. Na? Okay. See, first of all, QP is done. Now let's see. So this is QS of sand. See, in case of the sand, you have to follow the principle of limiting the unit skin friction. You can use the formula of 15D or 20D. So in this case, I have taken up to 15 times of D. So therefore, you need to assume that the unit skin friction varies linearly up to 15 times of D, and thereafter the unit skin friction becomes constant. So this linear variation indicates that up to 12 meter depth, the unit skin friction FSS increases linearly, and thereafter it becomes a constant. So in this case, the linear variation goes up to 12 meter and thereafter becomes a constant. Now the equation for QS is perimeter multiplied by summation of tan delta. Delta is 0.8 times of pi and sigma V dash into Ki into length of the soil layer. So here length of the soil layer is 6 meter, that is sand, and K is earth pressure coefficient, and sigma V dash is average effective vertical stress. So here P is pi into D, that is pi into 0.8 to 0.51 meter, and sigma average that you need to calculate. At the top of the sand layer, the initial effective overburden pressure is 72, and at the bottom of the sand
we can
layer,
also, sir, we can also do it by integration, no, sir. That will be more accurate.
yeah. You can also do by integration.
Okay, sir.
You are most welcome to do so. And sigma average at the bottom of the sand layer is 132. So 72 plus 132 by 2. So this is 102. Now length of that sand layer is 6 meter. Angle of internal friction of the sand layer is 30. And K2, since we are using the board pile, so the equation for K2 of board pile is 1 minus sin pi. So substitute 1 minus sin 30. What you get is 0.5. And since I know all the terminology in this QS equation, substitute P is 2.51 tan delta. So delta is 0.8 times of pi, 0.8 times of 30, and sigma average is 102, and K is 0.5, and length of the layer is 6. So if you substitute everything into QS sand, what you will get is 342 kilometer.
Okay.
Very good. So just note down the another sum. A concrete pile is 20 meter length and 360 millimeter by 360 millimeter in cross section. The pile is fully embedded in sand which unit weight is 16.8 kilonewton per cubic meter and pi is 30 degree. So you are given NQ star is 56.7. Calculate the ultimate load by Meyerhof method. Determine the frictional resistance QS if K is 1.3 and delta is 0.8 amps of pi. Estimate the allowable load carrying capacity of the file and use the factor of safety of the 4.
Can we do it in the next class?
As you wish. It is a repetition of the previous sum with only exception that the 15 times of the linear variation you have to consider, because in the earlier case it was a sand and combination of the sand and clay, but it is pure sand here. Okay, and you have to consider 15 times of the variation for both point bearing resistance as well as the friction. So don't get confused. Just note down, we will solve in the next class, no problem. We just take the screenshot. That's it. So can I close down?